the Publishing by the Number podcast. We are so happy to see you today, or well, okay, we can't see you, but you can see us. So welcome, welcome. It is the 16th of April, and this is episode 27, Mystery Tropes. And I would play some really cool mystery music, but I don't have any. So imagine some really cool, mysterious kind of music. I'm Jana Brown, and I'm here today with my two co-hosts, Virginia Anderson. Hello, Virginia.
Hi.
And CJ Anaya. Hello, CJ.
Hey, guys.
And we have spent all this month has been focused on mysteries. If you missed the call from last week, pause this and go back and listen to it, because it's a call with Dane Cobain, and it was really, really fun. We got to talk a lot about cozy mysteries, about some of his upcoming things. And I just saw that Oceanus has hit the shelves. He posted a picture on it today, and it looks very cool. That is his Titanic poetry thing, which I'm sure there's plenty of mysteries that have to do with the Titanic even now. So it's relevant. Relevancy. I have relevancy. So before we launch into the tropes, we were talking and decided that we should maybe give a definition of a few things, because mystery and thriller and suspense, they're grouped together on Amazon. It kind of gets squishy as to where's the line between them, because there's a lot of things, especially when it comes to tropes, that overlap. So I stole this from somebody else, and then I've adjusted it, enough that I'm going to call it my own. It's not plagiarism if you adjust it enough, guys. Mostly because I closed the website. So I'll put it in the show notes where I got this from. I know, I'm terrible. Also, I spent all day painting, so paint fumes, that's irrelevant for later.
That's a thing.
So a mystery, the main character is occupied in tracking down the truth about an event, usually a murder, though it can be other things. If the protagonist is in any danger, it's usually moderate and becomes a problem only as the detective approaches the truth. So the Nancy Drew mysteries that CJ loves so much, though that's really a mystery. Nancy Drew is generally not in a lot of danger while she is finding these things out, though as she gets closer and closer to the answer, there might be some moderate, minor level of danger. We never thought Nancy was going to die, but she might be temporarily inconvenienced. In a thriller, the protagonist is in danger from the outset. Every step of solving the mystery comes with danger to the main character, physically, emotionally, mentally, or some combination of the above. So with thrillers, you always know that there's a huge danger going on. It can be a danger to the world, and solving the mystery is not enough. You also have to not die while you're doing it. And then in suspense, the main character may become aware of the danger to themselves only gradually. In a mystery, the reader is exposed to the same information as the detective, but in suspense, the reader is generally aware of things unknown to the protagonist. The reader sees the bad guy plant the bomb, for example, and then suffers the suspense of wondering when or if it will explode, or if the main character will find it first. So a lot of psychological ends up being psychological suspense. So, okay. What is a trope? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. CJ, tell us what a trope is.
A trope is a plot device. It is used in fiction in order to assist you in telling a specific story or a specific type of story. So for example, in romance, and we've gone over this, if you will harken back to our romance series of last month, well, February, actually, then you will be able to look at all of the romance tropes, such as marriage of convenience, okay, or enemies to lovers. So it's you could call it a theme, but it's really not quite that. It's more of a plot device that involves certain types of conflicts and certain types of scenes and events that will take place, or certain types of relationships that will occur, that gets you moving forward. And there are very specific tropes that go within each category. There are also tropes that just can actually work across the board in a lot of umbrella categories. But today we want to talk about the ones that commonly show up in mystery. Okay, so Jana or Virginie, whoever wants to run with this, you want to take the first trope and talk about it? Jana does.
Yes, wait, we can totally do this. Okay, so remember that Tropes can become trite when they are overused, but we use them because our readers are expecting them. That's
Right.
how they define that this is a mystery versus something else, is because these are things that they look for. So, like, one of the first ones we're going to talk about is The Dame with a Case. This goes back to classic noir style mysteries where you had Sam Spade leaning back in his office. He's the private eye who drinks too much and all this kind of stuff. And who's going to walk through his doorway? It's going to be some gorgeous girl, and she has a problem and she needs him to fix it. That's the dame with a case. And you see that a lot in noir. You do see it in more current mystery as well, but it's the idea as to who gets that mystery started. And very often it is a girl, it is somebody that he wants to impress as well, but they're the ones who are going to show up and say such and such is missing, or my uncle Albert was murdered, or whatever, something like that. So the next one, let's give this one to who wants it? Who wants
Let me
it?
pick one. Let me pick one. Let me pick one.
You pick one.
Yeah,
Do it.
because I just watched a classic. It's based on one of Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot movies. Books. You know this. Oh, I actually can't remember what was the original title. It's something around the Nile.
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile, or all those Crime on the Orient Express. Like this. It really left a everlasting impression on me, and I just love how arrogant and obnoxious Hercule Poirot can be, but yet he is just so, so it's just so nicely crafted. So it's around the trope of the detective denouement and the highly intelligent and the highly observant detective. So tropes can be, you don't always have to just have one. It can be a combination of a few things. And Agatha Christie, it's just so,
she's so good.
There's a reason why she's been so prolific and so popular, and people just love those books, because it's really, like Jenna said, this is what you expect. You expect to have that, everyone in the room, and then you have this denouement at the end, and then you know that Hercule Poirot is going to be the smart ass, but also you feel like, yeah, he can't afford to be the smart ass, because it's just the way how he explained what happened, it just tied every single piece of clue together, and you're like, but of course. So I watched this movie, the Death on the Nile, with the latest one, because there's about 1 million versions of that book, and I was just really looking forward to that last scene where he gathered all the people in the same room, and he's going to make that big reveal, and it doesn't fail every time. It's just really satisfying. So yeah, that's that one. So the highly intelligent detective and the detective denouement. I love that word, denouement. It's a French word, by the way. So just saying.
French words are always better, right?
Right. Absolutely. I'm going to piggyback off of that, since we're talking about Agatha Christie. And I never say his name right. Hercule. I always say Poirot, because that is about as American as I get. And I just can't say it right. So I'll let Virginie say it right. But everyone did it. That's the perfect, the one on the train. Was it Murder on the
Orient Express?
Murder on the Orient Express. And it just, that one, it was so thrilling to read and then to watch, because you're thinking one person, but everyone had a motive, everyone had a reason, and everyone in fact did spoiler alert. Everyone in fact did participate. You're welcome. Sorry about that. I didn't give anybody a heads up there. So that is an interesting one to play with. Because generally speaking, you're used to one person, or maybe two, but not everybody. When every suspect, I mean, I didn't see that coming. course, with mysteries, for me, I don't even attempt. I think I'm like Dane last time when he talked about how he does not attempt to solve it. I'm very much like that. I don't attempt to solve it. I just go with it and enjoy it. And so that one stumped me big time because I was like, I didn't even consider that all of them would have had, opportunity to do all of that and been on it together. But you go back and watch everything and you see those clues in hindsight. So Jana, give us another one.
Oh, another really fun one is the person that you least suspect. Man, you just talked about there's the everyone did it. And then this is the one where everything seems to lead towards somebody over here, but really it's great Aunt Maggie who's been sitting in the room the entire time. And she was the one that you had kind of crossed off the list of your suspects really, really early on, because obviously she didn't do it. There was no obvious motivation, no anything else. And yet that's where it came from. And that's actually originally where the idea of the butler did it came from. I mean, now that's its very own trope. But the idea that somebody that was that close to the household, they were a nobody, and it's this nobody that actually committed the crime. That's the one you least suspect, even though now the butler did it, or the household staff did it, is a trope in and of itself. So that's a really, really fun one. Okay.
I want another one. I have another one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who else? Go.
Not a suicide. That's a really good one. So because I mean, I think it's quite used, right? Because so I'm almost like suspicious immediately when I see a suicide in a mystery book, because I'm like, nah, that's what you want to make me believe. So I'm not going there. But then sometimes it's a suicide is a suicide, but not always. And what happens if there's like a two suicide? Maybe there's one that's a suicide, maybe another one that is not. Just, playing with my mind. And that's why mystery books are so great, because it's a mind game, and you're trying to be, I'm trying to be clever, and I think I'm one step ahead, but really it's, it's suicide can be a real thing, or it can be a red herring. So it's maybe pushing me to think this is a suicide, but actually it's not. Or maybe it is really, and I'm just thinking it's really a mind. I was going to say the F word, but I'm not going to. But it's I love it. It's a bit of a SM relationship. It's like, come on. I knew it. And at the end is, oh no, so that's, I love it. I mean, you can tell that I love those books, because I'm like, yeah, it's so great. Anyway,
I love it. Okay, so CJ, sorry, go ahead, Virginia.
I was just going to say, obviously not showing the same level of enthusiasm than when you're talking about tropes in romance.
I think that's okay.
But anyway, so CJ, do you have another one?
V, you hit on this a little bit with red herrings and twist endings. So with a red herring, it's the writer is trying to lead the reader in a completely different direction, leaving hints and clues that make you think it's one person, or it makes you think that certain events occurred. And it's misdirection is what it is, on purpose, so that ending, that twist ending, hits you full in the face. You're like, what? And you weren't expecting it, and you never saw it coming. Red herrings are actually, I correct me if I'm wrong, Jana, and I'm sure someone will attempt it, but it's kind of a staple in all mysteries, and an important beat, an important plot beat in your plot and structure, to have those red herrings in there. So, you're offering misdirection as a writer in order to pull that mystery in and weave it around your reader a little further. And then it makes those twist endings where you never saw it coming so much more powerful, because you managed to weave those red herrings in so effectively. So those are other tropes that are used. Okay, Jana, next.
Oh, let's see. Let's talk about alibis. Because in mystery, there's always somebody there to say, oh, this suspect was with me all night. or that kind of thing. And this makes me think of two things, and they're totally on the opposite side of things. So that's really, really fun. So my daughter likes to watch videos of people playing video games. We won't let her play Among Us because she's too young to be on the internet with a bunch of strangers. But she loves this because it's the logic puzzle, and it is a mystery of there is a killer among us, and everybody goes off and does their task, and then people die, and you're trying to figure out who it is. And when you get together to argue about it and to discuss who you should kick off their little space station, you have that whole alibi thing where it's like, no, I can't be the killer because White and we were in the same room the entire time doing the tasks together. So it means that it can't be me and it can't be him because we sat there and watched each other. And so that's the idea of the alibi, is it's somebody that will do that. In mystery, the problem with an alibi is very often you get fake alibis. You get people that are willing to swear up and down that, nope, I was with them all night. And then they do more research and they find out that, no, you weren't. We have video evidence that you were across town. So no, you can't actually be an alibi for the suspect because you weren't there. And that reminds me, there was an old, so I'm a really, really big nerd, that there's no question about this. And when you go to nerd conventions, one of the things we do is what's called filking. And these are folk songs that then have a twist to them, generally in a science fiction and fantasy way. And one of my favorite ones plays on this idea because it's one of those where there's this really terrible countess, and she thinks that she's a great singer. So she sings every single night and tortures the entire castle. And so at a certain point, she's found dead in the morning, and the authorities come to try to take care of this and whatever. And every single person in the castle comes forward to say the count was never alone, even though the door was locked and he was the only one with the key. He totally didn't do it. And it all comes out to everybody knows that he did it, but everyone was just so grateful that she was gone. They were perfectly willing to swear up and down that he was with me all night because we wanted rid of her and her bad singing. So these are the things that make me think about alibis, because it's always that alibis are so interesting because they can give you the clue that you need, or they can really screw everything up because they tend to be unreliable. All right, what else do we want to talk about, ladies? There has to be more.
I want to talk about the nosy reporters slash neighbors slash retailer, cashier and all that. I love it because it's a little bit annoying, but then, I think about Miss Marple, for example, or what's that thing? What's that TV show? The Murder, She Wrote.
She Wrote. Yeah, Angela Lansbury.
That Colombo. That he has this very annoying way of asking the most annoying questions, and or just like mind your own business. Why are you like into other people's lives and asking those really nosy questions? And it's all those questions are actually looked very innocent and very irrelevant, but they are all clues to help you to get to find the who did it. So I like that it set the scenes. It's like those little sprinkle of clues along the way, and so I like to go back and read those clues and then read the interaction. Sometimes I read too much into those, so I'm making up like also the scenarios, very complex scenarios in my head, and then I get to the end of the book and it's actually really simple, and that's where the craftsmanship kicks in, and then you're like, why did I overcomplicate this thing? And that actually, I think it's a good point about writing a mystery book. I have a tendency to overcomplicate my plot, having like 6 million different tropes and things like. And I think the expectations of the readers is not so much having a million different things to confuse them, but it's to have something that's cleverly assembled so that they have a satisfactory ending. So this is something that I need to remind myself all the time when I'm getting into the space of writing outline and plots, to not overcomplicate this, and just keep things simple. These are tropes. They are used a lot, but there's a reason why they're used a lot. It's because people are expecting those things. So yeah, don't try to reinvent the wheel when it's working. So that.
And we love them. I was just thinking, I've been reading Calvin and Hobbes with my daughter, and he has a mystery persona that pops up sometimes in this, and it's Tracer Bullet, which is a really great detective kind of name. And he says, my name is Tracer Bullet. I have 2 slugs in me. One is lead and the other comes from a bottle. And okay, Calvin is actually like 7 years old in these things, but when he sets up for these mysteries, the cartoonist is pulling on exactly these kinds of things. And he has the dame with a case because his mom comes walking in, and in real life, she's asking him about a broken, I think it's a vase or a light or something like that, and I can't remember. But he goes back and forth into this mystery persona where he's wearing the fedora and the trench coat and all of those things that we also visually connect with mystery. And she's the dame with a case. And then as he finds these red herrings, he suspects somebody does it, but no, it has to be this person. And in the end, even though he solves the mystery, he doesn't rat out the person who did it because it happened to be his toy tiger who was a friend of his. And so it's so interesting how even in other genres, I mean, that's cartoon. It's this really, it's cute and a little bit disturbing comic book series, how they can pull this in and just in a few panels can do these short mystery stories pulling on all of these tropes. And we know from the minute that we see that first panel that this is the kind of little story that we're about to get. And that's why the tropes are so great, because as soon as we see that, we know where we are.
Mm.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add today? We know this haven't covered all of the tropes, but these are, the first 10 that we came up with. Feel free to put in the comments your favorite trope if we missed it.
Yeah, and this is definitely a category that we'll revisit again. I mean, CJ and Jenna just don't really have a choice. This is going to come back anyway, and
we're going back to romance too.
We've
it's really a threat and a promise.
What more do you have to say about that? Oh my God. We haven't even touched on, thriller, suspense. These are all the things that are often connected with mystery, but not necessarily, and because I'm OCD, so I like to categorize things. I like to separate them, just to have a clear boundaries. So we'll definitely revisit this topic and as well as thriller and suspense. So much that there's going to be so much to cover that there's not going to be any space left for romance. And this is too bad. I wish, but that's just how it is. So I think maybe let's just leave it at that today.
All right, well, then let's launch into our irrelevant moments. And V, since you're on a roll, what's irrelevant in your world today?
Okay, I want to give an update about my tennis business.
Oh, no, the tennis outfit is back. Yay, I'm so happy.
Does it fit? That's my first question. No? Have we accessorized?
I have all the accessories. I'm happy to report that I have all the accessories. I have the hat, the dress, multiple dresses actually, and the shoes, the racket, the bag, everything. But it was really hot. So I can't play tennis when it's really hot because my skin is falling off. And then now that the weather has cooled down a little bit, remember I'm in Australia, so I'm on the opposite side of the climate. When it's hot in US, for example, it's cold here. Well, now the weather has cooled down, I can't play tennis because I have what is called the tennis elbow. And
is that related to the tennis excuse?
This is actually real condition, everyone. If you Google tennis elbow, it is a real condition. It's because I had to carry my daughter when she was little, and she was not a little baby. Let me just put it that way. So every time I have to lift her up and down, it's just I'm injured. So which brings me to my irrelevant moment. I'm on a mission. So I'm on to my next gig, which now is chess. I'm all about playing chess now. So
Is there an outfit? Is there a chess playing outfit?
Oh, that's a very good question. And is
there's
there?
no chess outfit, although I can put on an outfit, but there's the chess board, the chess set, their chess, the table that you put the chess on, the little timer thing that you're going to make sure that
In other words, you can accessorize up the wazoo.
That's true.
So this is my new thing. And I'm going to learn how to play it. So I already got 2 books, and I'm going to investigate this. So that's my irrelevant moment. What about you, Jenna?
Oh, I alluded to this earlier. My irrelevant moment is that I have somehow fallen prey to making my daughter grow up. Actually, not making, just acknowledging, which I never want to do, because she's my itty bitty squishy baby, and now she's 10, and a few weeks ago she looked around her room, which was pale pink with Paw Patrol stickers on the wall and all those kinds of things, and declared that she was ready to upgrade her room, and that we should redo it, and it will become her new tween room, and she wants blue walls and no more Paw Patrol stickers, and we're getting rid of all of these things. And so I started today with my sibling. My sister came up to help, and we started today, and it looks so good. We have gone from pale dirty pink to a blue that's about the color of our backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's lovely, it's bright, it looks so clean. And then tomorrow the carpet cleaners are coming, and they are going to see if there is any way to get some of what's in that carpet out. Good on them. Good luck.
Good luck.
They have a giant steam mount, truck mounted steamer. It's the closest we're going to get, because I'm not ready to change over the carpets. But it's kind of bittersweet, because on the one hand, it's so cute that she's growing up and that she has opinions, and she has posters she wants to hang up and all these kinds of things. And on the other hand, I must acknowledge that she is not my little squishy boo anymore. And so my mom heart is torn between being grateful and being just a little bit, just a little bit sad. So that's what's happening in my life. And the other problem with this that is not related to her growing up, once you have painted one room and it's now all bright and shiny and really, really clean, it makes every wall in the entire ding dang house look grungy. I'm walking around now going, and we should paint this wall, and we should paint this wall, and we should definitely paint that wall. And I'm going to be painting for the rest of forever, just slowly but surely.
I can relate, because CJ, you missed that, because last time my irrelevant moment was all about bleach. And so once you start bleaching one corner, you have to bleach the entire house. And I also bleached my clothes. So I can totally relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. CJ, what about you?
Go ahead, CJ.
Okay, so I took my daughter, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, to this place called the Gaslight Theater. And it is just a nice little theater where you can eat and dine while you watch live performances. And this is total slapstick comedy in a saloon style type of setting. And it is just, it's funny stuff. And to my surprise, one of my former college friends who I had done a lot of performing with in college was there performing. And I had my daughter, Sophie, and I were sitting in the front, like the very front row. I got all these great tickets. And Sophie was totally enthralled. She loved it. She enjoyed it so much. And I kind of feel like she has that knack for theater and is interested in it. I just want to give her a little push to see what she thought. Mm-hmm. Apparently Todd saw me in the audience, and so he came around back after the performance, He was like, I would know that hair anywhere, because if any of you don't know, my hair is really large and frizzy. You can't miss it. No matter how hard I try to tame this, it just doesn't happen. So anyway, he found us and we started talking, and he said that there were some auditions happening April 29th. And so I'm going to take my daughter over there and we're just going to see what happens and just have some fun with it. So, you know, she can see what that's like and see what it's like to be backstage in a theater, because performing is something that I did long before I ever started writing, singing and dancing and all that good stuff. So that was a fun mom moment with my daughter, but also just fun stuff that she might actually be interested in doing. And if you guys have never gone to the Gaslight Theater in Tucson, Arizona, you should. It's hysterical. It's so much fun. They write the plays that they do. They're hilarious. The singers are great. It's very entertaining. They do a lot of improv up there. You never know exactly what's going to come out of their mouths. It's hilarious.
Sweet.
And it's just, you know, it's puns. It's like, you know, horrible jokes. It's hilarious. Just, you know, just corny stuff. So if anybody wants to go, you absolutely should. But that is my irrelevant moment. So, ta-da.
Ta-da. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, ladies. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. You can find the show in the show notes at www.elantumdigital.com and follow the podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast distributor. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.